Hello, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob and I'm the host of this one-man show, and today I'm doing the impossible. Basically, I am going to be, as you can see from the title of the episode, I'm going to be ranking, and it pains me so much to say this, but I'm going to be ranking the 3 High School Musical movies. And I know you guys are like, what the fuck is this have to be anything? And I know this is not like current pop culture like news or commentary or whatever, but I've wanted to talk about this for like ages, and you know what, like, I don't care. This is my this is my podcast, bitch. So I'm gonna do whatever I want. You cannot tell me otherwise. And I'm sure there are a lot of High School Musical fans out there, so I think you guys will appreciate this. Or maybe not, because maybe when I start ranking them, you guys will be so mad at me. We'll see about that. Anyway, so the whole reason why I started thinking about this type of episode was because first of all, I'm one of the I would say biggest High School Musical fans ever. Like ever. I literally like watch High School Musical to this day. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, all 3 movies, they all hold up beautifully. I think at this point we can all agree, I guess, at least for our generation, that it is a series like of movies that is just like ingrained in our brains. Like, it is a classic. It is a cult classic. No, not cult classic. It is a classic. Because it's not very culty. It's very, very widespread, I think. And I think it is also one of the foundational pieces of media for me that really got me into musicals in general. I really started appreciating musicals because of this. And I was, mind you, bitch, I was like, oh my god, I'm cursing so much. Oh my god, I'm so passionate. I'm so passionate. But I literally started watching, like, the first time I watched High School Musical was when I was 6 years old. 6 years old. Yes. So of course more memories, like, you know, are established like later on in my life, of course. So I don't claim to know everything that happened in High School Musical when I was 6. But I do now. Like, I've known for a while now, but I actually remember watching it on Disney Channel, and I also do remember my mom printing me the lyrics back in the days of many of the songs of the first movie specifically as well. And we were like, whenever we were driving around and putting the songs on our radio, whatever, CD player in the car, we would just like read the lyrics and just sing like that. That was also, yeah, exactly, also foundational piece of media for my English knowledge. I literally started learning the lyrics to the songs when I was very young. So I've loved it. I'm an aficionado, I would say. I'm very much knowledgeable on the matter. So, and yeah, I guess like the recent event, I guess, that pushed me to do this was just a conversation I was having with one of my friends, and he said that he thinks these movies are cringe, although he is a Disney Channel like grown, you know, like he was raised by Disney Channel basically. So he does like Lemonade Mouth and all that stuff. And I do think all the musicals technically of the television films basically that were put on Disney Channel were actually quite good, if I have to be honest. But I have to, like, first of all say that is a wrong opinion, because High School Musical is not cringe. Either you like musicals or you don't. That's just the way it is. I think it's just a very polarizing genre in general, but you cannot deny High School Musical is still to this day one of the best musicals ever. And I think I'm gonna say it, I think it's up there with Grease as one of the best musicals, like televised musicals, or like movie musicals, I guess. So yeah, that Mamma Mia, all these movies are like The Greatest Showman. All these are like foundational pieces in the musical, legacy, I guess. So I think it's a gag. All the 3 movies are actually incredibly well done, and I have to give my hats off to Kenny Ortega, who is just, the creative behind these musicals. Like, literally. Also, I found out later on, like actually a couple of years ago, that he directed Material Girl, for example, by Madonna. Like, this guy has a resume. I'm really, really impressed. And I think he also has a talent for producing musical songs that are like so 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 good, so catchy, specifically, like, just it's incredible. And they fit perfectly with the musical style because they are also part dialogue, but they're also not. Like, some of the songs in there are actually very catchy songs that you could just listen to even without having the context of the musical, you know what I mean? So incredible. But again, I do think all three movies are very good. I do have a preference out of the three on which one I think is the best High School Musical movie. But yes, I would like to say that they're all actually very, very good, and I do watch all three of them very, very, very often. So they're all incredible. Now, let's get on. I think that the hardest part for me actually was ranking the last two rather than the top one, because I know my top one. I know which one is my favorite out of the three, but I think ranking the last two was, quite hard, and I'm not sure about it, to be quite frank. But anyways, before we get into the rank itself, High School Musical, if you don't know about anything about it, High School Musical is a musical film. It started off as a television film series. Basically, the first two movies were just put on TV on Disney Channel, but they are movies. And then the third one was the first out of the three, the first out of the three movie, which was put in theaters, and it was the conclusion of the trilogy, basically. And it follows, basically, it's pretty self-explaining, I think, from the title you can tell. It's a high school musical. Like, you follow these teenagers in high school, their, love stories and all that stuff, and how it's actually so smart because it's so meta as well. The whole purpose of the movies is these teenagers are in school, of course, but they all are united, I guess, by their theater class, and specifically they audition to do a musical in their school. So it's a musical of a musical, if that makes any sense. It's so meta, and I always thought was one of the smartest elements of the movies, because, like, you literally can explain so much, like, so you can justify, I guess, some of the songs and the musical moments in the movie because they are rehearsing the songs for their musical, which, by the way, we never actually see. Like, I think we properly never see the full musicals that they do, never. So that was mostly the formula of the first movie. Second movie takes a bit of a turn, and they go on a different location. They change location, and they're no longer. They're doing the second movie is basically based during the summer holidays when they go and work for this hotel resort that is owned actually by Sharpay Evans, which is one of the classmates, basically, and one of the main characters. So they still have to go to take part in this talent show hosted every season by the hotel. So that there's also the musical element there, basically. And then the third one is, again, we go back to the original formula. They're back in it's called senior year, the third one, because it is actually when they graduate from high school, and so they have to do one last musical. And so it's all about the rehearsing for this last thing, and that's even more meta because the last musical that they do is a musical about their own lives. So it's a musical of a musical of a musical. I don't know, something like that. But so cool. So, anyways, this is the basic plot, I guess, of the three movies. But because there is a climax that has been put in the plot, which is basically the talent show or the musical itself and the audition and all that stuff. The plot basically has an ending for all three movies because the climax again is the final scene where they have to either do their talent show or do their musical and the final audition for the musical or whatever. So yeah, as you can imagine, there is a sort of a formula also in the movie. In terms of there's always an ending song that is the big climatic song in that sense. Like it's a very specific type of High School Musical song, basically, that is repeated in the second movie as well, and I would argue not as well as the first one. But yeah, and then the third one, I would say, doesn't really have that, because there's no audition or there's no musical moment. Their last song is them basically celebrating, wrapping up basically the ending of it all. Like it's a song about how they graduate and just like are, that's it. So it's about them mostly, but I think it fits against the last movie because it's a bit different, if I have to be honest. Yeah, so let's go through a ranking. What is number 3? Number 3, I would argue, is High School Musical 3. Senior year. Now, don't get me wrong. This movie, I legit cried in the theater. It is one of the first actual theater moments that I also ever had, because that came out, I think, in 2008, maybe? Am I wrong? Or 2009? Oh my god, when did that came out? In 2008. Yeah, 2008, so I wasn't wrong. Yeah. And so it was a very emotional moment, but I think most of the emotion of the movie comes, it's like, earned. You know what I mean? It is a beautiful ending to the trilogy, and there are very memorable musical moments in it. The budget is off the roof compared to the other two because it's the only one that was released in theaters. So it was actually very cinematic. Like you can actually see the sweat on Troy's face in the first 2 frames of the movie. So it's actually really, really well shot as well. It's just upgraded everything else. And the sole reason why I'm putting it below the other two is because I think, personally, while some of the songs are memorable, the other movies have more iconic moments. This is more like like a victory lap, if I have to be honest. Like this movie, basically, that's just how he feels watching it, to be quite frank. There are a lot of callbacks and all that stuff. It's very cute. It's very, there's a lot of very cool moments. I really, really like I Want It All by Sharpay and Ryan, where they do the whole shebang, like of how they imagine their lives to be when they go to like Broadway and all these things, and like winning all these accolades and all that stuff. They want to eventually become famous or whatever. So cool. But I think because it's like this sort of like victory lap, there are, less. There are less risks taken with the movie, if that makes any sense. I did like the fact that they tried to like show these new freshers, basically, who are supposed to like sort of quote unquote replace them. I didn't quite particularly get, or like I wasn't really interested in the 2 guys who are supposed to like quote unquote replace Chad and Troy, but the girl who was supposed to replace Sharpay, that moment was so funny because she's like sort of like a double agent or whatever, who is supposed to like get her back and like replace her for good in the theater productions and all that stuff. And she's like secretly British, I think, or something like that. I can't remember. Just fucking weird. It's just insane. But it's the only interesting dynamic because like Sharpay, I love seeing Sharpay competitive. That's my game, basically. I love seeing that. And again, there are other incredible musical moments. I really like Night of Nights, when they like get ready for prom. Oh my god, that whole song, just like the way it's produced and changes like type of beats and genre of music, like it goes into like a salsa moment too. It's just like incredible. Like the songs are just like so well executed, and of course the budget is amazing. So you see all these props that would be used in normal musicals. It's just so well done. But I do think the plot line deviates a lot from the main movies, and I understand it has to deviate because, it is the ending of it. I would have appreciated, though, a bigger final song. There's that one big element from the movie that I think it's really missing. And I'm not talking about, of course, the graduation song. That is what, we're all in this together. That's like, what the equivalent of that is. But we don't have no breaking free in High School Musical 3, I think, personally. I don't think there is any moment in there that is like, whoa, that's like, the explosive penultimate song. Like, it's not the ending song, but it's like the last song, basically, that is really explosive and reaches a climax in a movie. I don't think there's like quite a song like that. I do have a lot of favorites in there. Like, also like Can I Have This Dance? That song is really, really good. What is it? All I wanna do. Yeah, all I wanna do is be with you. So good. But yeah, I think that's the main thing that it's missing. They do check the box, I think, with the Sharpay and Ryan song with I Want It All. That is, I would actually venture to say, their best song. Like, as the duo of them, they have a lot of good moments. But that to me is the climax. So, like, for their songs. But for Troy and Gabriella, not as much. They do have the usual beginning song, lovey-dovey song, whatever. And I mean, they have Can I Have This Dance, which I think sort of mirrors like I Gotta Go My Own Way, kind of, or like when they almost sort of break up but they don't. It's that. But yeah, there's a big final moment missing, I think, in a movie, which I think it could have been included, to be quite frank. But apart from that, kudos. That the movie looks so good. And it deserves the accolades. It deserves all the accolades. Also, by the way, all these movies amassed so many viewership. So many viewers. Like, the movie was incredible. I think most of them also, most of the televised ones, like, got like 17 million views in the United States alone, and like that was the second one, I think, and then that was 10 million more than the first one. So like, it was just like a very successful thing. But yeah, so still very good. Now let's go to number 2, and that is High School Musical 2. I think it's very fitting. And I don't know, usually that's a very unpopular opinion. Maybe all my friends I've talked to, they all prefer High School Musical 2, and I can understand why. Personally, I see it, and I do agree with part of it. But to me, it's just not number 1, which is of course High School Musical 1. But let me get into High School Musical 2. High School Musical 2 is like, that's basically their almost like change of location, change of scenery, but still keeping the same formula. And there are new elements in this, like where Troy now, they introduce some tension between Troy and Gabriella, basically, right? Which is not derived like the first movie from them being two different stereotypes, I guess, of like high schoolers, in that two archetypes of high schoolers that usually don't mesh well, like they shouldn't date or whatever. But in this one, the element of chaos, I guess, is Sharpay, and Troy basically being groomed by Sharpay's parents and the whole shebang. Like, Sharpay makes it her prime, I guess, objective is to, she makes it to be like, she has to ruin the relationship between Gabrielle and Troy, and she, I would say, actually almost quite successfully does, because she manages to like basically grooms Troy so much and give him so many like preferential treatments, and all his friends start basically hating him, including Gabriella, who starts saying that you're different. I didn't fall in love with this type of person. You're becoming selfish. You're accepting these offers to play with these massive basketball players, and you're not bringing any of your friends along. You're a fucking cunt. That wasn't what she said, but that's sort of what she wanted to say, I guess. Girl, I got you. But I think that, and so that's very interesting. I think it's a bit different, at least when there's like a new interest. But I would have like I never. I'm sorry, but like, you know, Sharpay being interested in Troy would have made more sense, I think, in the first movie, if I have to be honest. Which there is some sort of that, you know, not really very overt, I guess. Like it's not really that established, but in the second movie, like I'm like, okay, but like you know that these two have been together now for quite a while, and I don't think you actually want Troy as your boyfriend because he's quite, you know, he's very much, you know, I don't want to say dull, but he is. He's not. He doesn't have a strong personality, if that makes any sense. Like he's very well matched with Gabriella because Gabriella is boring as hell. So, yeah, I think that. But it is still funny to see them, like, you know, interact and see how much he sort of actually despises being with Sharpay. That's very funny to me. But I think the reason why I think this second movie, to me at least, is not above the first one is because I think it just slightly messes up the formula. And there's nothing wrong with that, again, to like go away from the formula, I guess. But I think that they had a massive missed opportunity. First of all, with the final song, Every Day is a good song, but they did have You Are the Music in Me as well in the catalog, and they did use it at the beginning of the movie. And it is supposed, in the movie, it is said that that's supposed to be the song that the entire group of friends are gonna like perform for the talent show, and then it's scrapped because, you know, Troy basically gets taken away from by Sharpay and all that stuff, and so they start performing by themselves, and Ryan then also switches sides and all that stuff. So yeah, but to me, at least, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you should have swapped Every Day with You Are the Music in Me. Like, to me, You Are the Music in Me is miles ahead of Every Day. Like, just in terms of like how catchy it is. They are very similar songs as well. They actually almost sound very similar too. But I think it's just that the nana of it all of You Are the Music in Me that is really catchy. And I do understand if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have had You Are the Music in Me, Taylor. Is it Taylor? What? Troy? Troy Sharpay version. The rock moment. I don't care. Like, that is clearly to me the superior song. You know? Like, that. Imagine that, like, in that same setting. Like, the white dresses and all that stuff, and Gabriella comes in crying, and Troy starts crying too, and all that stuff, but he's saying, You are the music in me. Bitch, come on! Oh, please. Kenny Ortega, I love your work. You're a genius, but this is my only critique I have of High School Musical 2. Kind of the other critique I have is just that the songs in general I think are less. Whoa, some of them are less iconic than the first movie, or like they are iconic for sure in terms of settings and everything. But I think in terms of meaning and everything else, is just. Like, you know, it's just, I think the first movie hits a lot of like very interesting commentary on, you know, like archetypes in school and how you're supposed to like fit in the mold, and if you don't, you're cast out and all that stuff, and that if you look a certain way, you're supposed to act a certain way and like certain things or like certain subjects or something like that. I think it's the first movie is very powerful in the message. I don't see the message in the second movie. I do think some of the songs are more iconic than the first one, to be fair. Like the what was it? Oh yeah, the baseball scene, that is cunt. That is iconic. Like the Ryan and Chad swap clothes at the end. That's a gag. That's that's as much of a presentation as we could get back in the days. That's fine. And I think also Fabulous is, a moment in history for sure. I also really like I think the second movie is more memeable, if that makes any sense. And more like if social media was like this these days and TikTok was around it, it would have gone more viral than the first one. But I think as a movie, the first one is better. I'm sorry, like I have to say that. There are just like more interesting concepts in the first movie that I don't see as much in the second one. I think the very interesting plotline is what they do with Sharpay, to be fair, and how she sort of like breaks down eventually, and she wants basically to still be part of the fan group eventually, basically at the end of the movie and all that. And I think I love how they get back together with all the group of friends. But like the first movie is it. The first movie is incredible, and also like the Troy, the angry Troy memes are just incredible. Like him splashing the water, all that. Bet on it is just very funny as a song. Like it's more than being good. I think it's like memeable. You know what I mean? And that's sort of like in a nutshell. The movie is like there's a lot of very unnecessary elements in it that are quite funny and quite memorable and quite viral for a reason, and so that makes the movie memorable. But I don't think it necessarily translates into the movie being as good plot wise, I guess, as the first one. I mean, there is a message here that you shouldn't betray your friends, and you shouldn't get in your head and like accept all these things. Like you should have moral integrity, basically. That's the whole point of the second movie. But I think the first one is more interesting and more novel, I guess, because it's like more very like based on for teenagers and all that stuff. Like the second one is as well, but I think you've seen a lot of movies like that before, like with that same message. But while the first one I think is more interesting because it's so meta and it's so good at commenting specifically on like high school archetypes and all that stuff. It's just very, very cool, especially like Stick to the Status Quo. That song is generational. I mean, feel free to disagree, of course. I mean, the first movie had very low budget, of course, and you can see, I think, that in the last part, there is actually a cameraman that is in the movie. You can actually see a camera as well. Very funny. So yeah, but I think the first movie has all these elements and a lot of scenes that are actually low-key very iconic too, if you have to be honest. Like, what was it? What I've been looking for. The two versions, so cool, so good, so different, but so both are like so representative of the two main pairs in the movies. And that audition scene is replicated again in like many other movies as well, and also Pitch Perfect. I would argue that it also takes inspiration from High School Musical 1 specifically, quite a bit, which is very iconic. Also, Bop to Hop. So catchy, so cool. Breaking Free, the generational song. Like that song is the archetype for the rest of the movies. And they all try to be her, but they're not. Sorry, like that's just the way it is. And you have all these very interesting elements in terms of like sounds and everything else. Like you have a bit of a like hip hop-y element with like the basketball scene in the first movie when they first start training and all that stuff, and then you also have the very good first love song that they do in the ski start of something new in the ski loft. Iconic, and they try to do it again with the second movie, and again if they swapped every day with You Are the Music and Me, they would have done that, and I think it would have been more prone to like maybe swap, even though still like it doesn't change what the rest of the movies, but yes. So I think the first movie is a gag, is the blueprint, and I do think again the point where you actually think about the movie, and I think you think how good of a meta commentary it is Stick to the Status Quo. That song is like just perfect. It's just like a great song, and it sort of like encapsulates the entirety of the movie. I don't think there is a song like that in the second movie. I think like the second movie is more Troy based in that sense. Like it's more about what Troy is going through, whatever. Like he has to be more he has to become a better person. The first one I think is more general, and it's about their love story, but I think also it's about all of them, like having to stick to the status quo, and that's just beautiful. It's just like incredible. I gotta give a shout out to I Gotta Go My Own Way, because that song is just so fucking good. Like, cool. But also I cannot, every time I watch it, when there's that one scene where Troy runs after her, what about us? What about everything we've been through? He hugs her from behind and he literally squishes her boobs. And I always find that so fucking funny. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, she's singing and he hugs her from behind and he also sings a bit, but like, he's just covered by her. It's just, that scene is crazy. Oh my god. But hey, what I would have loved to see, I guess, from the movies is a deeper friendship between Sharpay and Gabriella. They hint at them becoming a bit better, being friends, I guess, eventually, but not really. But I would have loved to have them be friends and have maybe in the third movie like good relationship and them teaming up to like take down this like British fresher, whatever, who's just like a little annoying student. So that would have been my wish. But apart from that, that's my ranking. Don't kill me, please. High School Musical fans, don't come for my neck. But that is my opinion. It is my opinion. So don't, please. Okay, word to the sponsor and then songs of the week. And see you soon. I need to put you guys onto something that genuinely feels like a facial in a bottle, and I don't say that lightly. It's called Amrutini Luminosity Dewdrops from Love Indus, and it's a daily serum that's all about making your skin look stronger, brighter, and actually well rested, even when you're not. What makes it different, I guess, from the other serums, it's mostly the ingredients. It's full of muga silk, which is basically like a rare golden silk from India that helps to reinforce your skin structure and elasticity. There's also a silver tips tea for antioxidant protection, and ashwagandha, which helps your skin recover from stress. And honestly, my skin needs that constantly, to be fair. So the texture is silky and lightweight, not greasy at all, and it works for all skin types and tones as well. It's especially great if your skin has been looking pretty dull and tired and just off, basically. And this brand isn't flying under the radar either. It's been featured in Vogue, Forbes, InStyle, Harper, Elle, Bazaar, and more. And it actually sells out on QVC because people really see the results, honestly. So it's very hard to get a hold of these bottles. So each bottle comes with basically a copper crusted silk cocoon that generally exfoliate your skin, so the serum itself absorbs better, and there's no irritation involved, just smoother skin. And if you want to try, you've just got the best discount available out there, 21% off any product. Just use my code OverSharePamphlet on loveindus.com. And yes, I do earn a commission when you use my code, so you're supporting the show as well by doing that. So that's loveindus.com. Code OverSharePamphlet for 21% off. Right, so songs of the week. It's finally time. I have 3 songs to talk to you guys about, and you can find all these songs in my playlist of the month on Spotify. You just need to search the Overshare Pamphlet songs of the week - whatever month we're in. So this is in the January 2026 playlist. Now, these 3 songs are quite unusual in terms of like structure and how I guess they progress. The first one is Isabel, and it's like acoustic-y guitar, but like upbeat, almost Florence and the Machine adjacent, maybe, I would say. That's like what sort of it reminds me of, but not really. I think she has a very unique style. This lady, it's called Isabel by Whitney. And it's just about like, this girl being sort of, I think, having a sort of obsession with Isabel. And she's sort of like at first like it's Jolene type of song, like Don't Take My Man or whatever, or like Leave Her or whatever, but I think there's like an undertone that she's actually sort of interested in Isabel. You know what I mean? There's something there, but the song is just generally very, very catchy, very whimsical, very there are a couple of like string elements in there, some violins, some orchestral elements, very cool. So sometimes it feels like a bit of grandiose type of song as well, which is very interesting, and I really, really enjoy it, and very catchy, but also very unique. I just don't think I've ever heard a song like this. Then we also have another one that I don't think I've ever heard, is like Blue Robotic by Pool Girl, and this is like I don't want to necessarily call it like hyperpop. It's quite experimental in terms of the chorus, but the beginning part is like quite synthy. It's a very synthy song, definitely 100% like synth, like early 2000 synth almost. It's very cool, but then the chorus goes absolutely nuts. Like it just gets completely different from anything that has to do with synth. So it gets almost hyper pop, very loud and brassy. Not brassy, sorry, like very aggressive, I guess. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I do enjoy that. That's a very moody, like it's just very like background type of song. Very cool. And then I have a song that I literally never thought I would receive. It's called Lean by Charlotte Day Wilson and Saya Gray. I am such a big fan of both, and I never thought that they would collaborate. Also because like in my brain they are in two separate like genres. Usually Charlotte Day Wilson usually does a lot of R&B, while Saya Gray is like experimental indie artist, like indie, yeah, I guess so, like almost like very avant-garde, like left field, I guess, pop music. So very, very cool. So this collaboration was like such a shock to me, and I'm so pleased that it was released because like it just sounds amazing. So it just progresses and it changes so much. The song just gets very intricate the more it progresses, and it's just a culmination. They have two separate parts, but then the two parts connect together, and they just like are layered on top of each other. It's just such an interesting song. I think it's more in the Saya Gray camp rather than the Charlotte Day Wilson in terms of production, but they both eat it up. It's just so good. It's just so interesting. Charlotte Day Wilson has one of the most interesting voices in R&B ever, I think. So definitely give it a listen. If you like both of them, just go listen to them because they are that good. Like literally so good. Anyways, these are the songs. Go listen to the playlist. Go listen to the podcast. Leave some comments below about the High School Musical. What's your ranking? Let me know what it is, or your unpopular opinion, or if you want to eat me up, please do. I don't mind that. I really enjoy reading the comments. So slay it. Bye.